day one. We're at the car park. We're setting off with the aim of studying the ecosystem around the lakes and reservoirs of the Brecon Beacons. So behind us we've got, well, first of all we've got loads of ferns, and then we've got all the hills and trees and all that. Quite some very steep hills over there. And we've got then over there to our right we've got sort of cliffs, and up there as well. We're going up, heading up north, right in front of us, and yeah, we're going to climb up that. There's a sheep in a bit.
Yeah, ecosystem.
And there's a few horses down there. And there were, I saw some, I don't know what they were, but there were some birds circling up
there were
over
some
there.
rabbits as well. I saw some blackbirds.
Yeah, blackbird. See a few pigeons.
Yeah. We are right here. Okay, it's 10:30 on day one. We've walked about 4.5k in 2 hours, and we're looking at the lake, and there's a lot of water around it, so the ground is really boggy, and there aren't many plants growing about above a foot off the ground. No other animals apart from sheep, and not much other life going on here.
But it's quite boggy.
Why you need to go to a reservoir?
Alright, supporting.
There isn't much wildlife, so yeah.
Our plants are different though, because we've got berries on these.
Yeah, we had berries on
We
these.
don't have many berries.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, we have a lot more of these like little plants with berries.
Because the water level in the reservoir is low, we can actually see the ground.
Still on day one, yeah? And we're heading up there somewhere. Alright, yeah, up the hill. Just came from the big one up there. Still day one, it's 6:02. We've just had lunch, and we're going to set off in a bit once everyone's got on their shoes and stuff. So we've come up from the reservoir from earlier, and we can still see the forest over there in the distance, and there's quite a few sheep going everywhere. There's quite hilly all around us, especially on the other side of the yeah, we're going to carry on. There's not much really. It was quite from the reservoir to here. It was sort of the same thing we had earlier. We had really long So we got some nice waterfalls.
How about you might do like a...
Well, wait. It's quite rocky. Looks like there's been a bit of a slip there, but otherwise we've just gone through a big forest of pine trees where everything's sort of dead, lots of dead wood. But yeah, otherwise it's just been sort of this sort of gravelly track for ages. And it carries on, doesn't it, Naomi?
Woo! More gravel track. My favourite.
Off we go. 5:30, day one. Still going up there. Lots of these flowers here. What are these flowers called? Not a clue. Foxglove? Japanese knotweed.
That's a bad.
There's a dead tree. The terrain is quite steep, isn't it, Cecil?
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah. There we go. We were up there, and we're going up there. Anyway, let's go. So this is the top of the Talibont Talibon Reservoir, as you can see. The hills are quite rolling down towards it. There's a forest of pardon? Dying trees, yeah.
A bit dead.
Yeah. Some of them. Some are more alive than others.
True.
Um,
I think they're a bit like our group right now.
yeah. Yeah.
Can we keep walking?
Yeah.
Cool.
And there we go. Let's keep going.
9 and we're at the campsite. We're having dinner.
Some raspberries. We also saw some of those. They're like, is it hazelnut tree?
Could be a hazelnut tree.
It might be a coconut tree. We're not too sure.
We definitely saw some coconut trees.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was nothing really. There wasn't really any wildlife along that. We didn't see anything. Oh, we saw a squirrel. We saw a squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a couple of rabbits.
What about cyclists?
Yeah, we saw some cyclists.
Motorcyclists as well.
No, we
Yeah.
saw them as well, but we saw like the ones with the leg powered ones.
Yeah.
The bikes. That's. Progression of the water downstream as it goes down the hill. We can also see quite a few rocks as the water no longer has sufficient current and flow to carry the heavier ones, and therefore they are dropped in the middle. We can also see bits of water-based wildlife and moss on the rocks.
Yeah, we're at the, is it the Talibon Reservoir. Pine trees up there, where we were yesterday. And there's a bit more of it. Oh yeah, there's cows up there. There's also, oh no, those were the cows we saw. And then all the way up on that hill, there's a few sheep dotted about. Here's more of the overflow, did you say, Naomi?
Yeah.
There you go. When we have too much water, it goes here. It's quite big.
So as you can see, over here is the reservoir. The ecosystem, oh, it's starting to rain, has some rain in it. We can see lots of the plant life here. So we've got some ferns, some stinging nettles, some dock leaves and some grass. We also have some plant with some flowers on. And over there is a view of the lake. It doesn't well, no, it's not a lake, it's a reservoir actually. It's man-made, which means that there's less leakage into the surrounding soil. There are also some trees, which we haven't really seen before today. Some different ones as well, not just ferns, there are also some oaks as well.
So it's day 1 and it's 10:30 and the reservoir's, oh yeah, day 2, oops. Reservoir's over there, but the river here is really dry, which is a bit weird.
You can see how it's affected plant life because the grass is yellow.
Yeah, all the grass around it's yellow, and there's no fish.
Kind of, you can see the average size of like the river basin due to like the fertility of the grass.
Fertility. Hello.
You can also see the river beach where the current has lost velocity and it drops on the rocks.
Yeah, what name he just said.
There's like certain curvatures and where the
Helical flow, yeah,
the
sorry.
geology of the region shows how like
Sheep.
Like ducks or rabbits
Oh yeah,
in the field.
some little critters.
Okay, so we're at another river. The water is flowing quite quickly, lots of rocks in the middle of it. There are lots of midges and mosquitoes and other flying insects nearer the water. There aren't many living things in the water, no fish or other...
Right, day 2, 1:05. We're gonna have lunch soon. There's waterfalls over there. Woohoo! They do. Hopefully we'll see more in a bit. We got a nice river. Can't really see much of it. Nice river going all along here. And Ed has found the beetle.
Look at
Ah.
that. There's a variety of the wildlife.
Yeah. To be fair, that's the.
Let's go
Yeah.
for a move.
Please don't eat the poo.
It's gonna jump on you, Ed. Ah! Oh.
Ed.
Oh.
Friend.
It's gonna bite you.
I mean, it's going to crawl up your arm, but you know.
Yeah. Like 100 metres up the road, there's even more waterfalls.
Yeah, lush.
Yeah. There's stinging nettles along this one. And some trees.
Oh, foxglove.
Foxglove. Oh yeah, there's a lonely foxglove.
Oh, there's another one over there.
That was there.
Okay, there are.
Okay, there's multiple.
There's more. It's not lonely.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, if you look up there, you can see it's under them.
Yeah, well yeah, there's loads up there.
God.
Oh yeah.
All the way up there, and there's another waterfall. We'll be there in a bit. So we're just a little bit higher than the waterfalls, and we found this funny looking orange thing. Yeah,
There's increased biodiversity.
yeah, it's part of the ecosystem, isn't it? Pretty cool. There's the waterfalls. Loads of trees have fallen over. Day 2, 4:30. The path was closed to go up to the reservoir, so we're down here now. This is a nice little waterfall-y bit. Naomi?
We can see by the colour of the water that there are quite a few mineral deposits in it because it's orange. And you can
Yeah.
also see near the waterfalls that the rock is sedimentary because we can see certain defined layers.
Yeah.
Probably find some fossils in there because they get
Wow.
compressed in between the layers. You can also see, because there's lots of water, we can see lots of plant life on the edges.
Yeah. There's quite a variety. I can't really name any.
High
of them.
biodiversity.
On the other side, it's
Yeah.
a similar story. Well, got a lot of plants and stuff along here.
You can see there's more
But,
rocks down
yeah,
there.
it's quite-
because
there's quite-
slower flow.
More of a sort of rock face here, though. And it carries on flowing downriver. Yeah, I saw a heron earlier.
Yeah.
The other one's behind them over there.
Like blackbirds.
Yeah.
Another ones that probably taking the lake.
Yeah. Do you reckon there's some kingfishers around?
I
Probably,
imagine
we're
there
not
probably
going to
are.
see any there.
Yeah.
It's so small.
Yeah, a bit small. But yeah, the reservoir looks a bit low compared to some other ones we've
You
seen.
look at the level on the
Yeah,
grass.
especially here. It's quite.
Here, and then you can see like
See on the
watermarks
rocks.
around the edge, and then that lines up with like the greenness of the grass and like the dead grass.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
So yeah, we saw loads more of raspberries and blackberries and stuff, and
On the way.
strawberries as well
Yeah.
along the way. And there
There's,
would.
there's more different mixture of trees along the edge
Yeah.
of this one compared to this one pine for the last time.
Ed raised
Yeah.
a good point. On this left side, we've got lots of coniferous trees.
Mm.
Good point.
Right, so it's day 3 and it's 5 to 9 and we are here above Pontishill Reservoir. And so as you can see on the landscape, we have a continuation of the evergreen trees here.
Yep.
On
Over.
both sides, so we have more pines. We've seen a lot of pines. We can see evidence of land management over there. As you can see, there's kind of like a harsh border where the
Yeah.
tree line stops. And so I'm assuming that's to slow the natural progression of the forest in order to not make it burn down. So, yeah. And so the water level is quite low. There is a clear, I don't know if you can see it on the beach, you can clearly see where it like used to be. It's probably due to the hot climate.
Yeah, it's been quite dry recently.
We've been drinking more and using that hosepipe.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I think all bar 2 of the reservoirs in Wales are used by English people. So, fun fact of the day.
And then 2 reservoirs in England are used by
Welsh people,
Yeah, so the Welsh only need 4.
Some nice pink flowers.
We have
Japanese knotweed.
It's an invasive species and it's very bad.
Yeah,
It can
there is one. Yeah.
It can grow 30 centimetres through concrete
Really?
in a day.
Really? No, I think that's rubbish. No.
That's with rooting. And so, yeah, I assume Natural Resources Wales will be getting on this quite successfully. So, yeah,
free. And it's 9:12 on this nice little bridge. And it keeps going. Whoa! Woo! That moved. Woohoo! Got pine trees everywhere. We're going over there into the wild country once more, where there's lots of grass, which doesn't seem to be too long compared to sort of the first few days. Pretty sure I missed it. Well, it's 10 o'clock, or 10 to 10, and we just saw some big bird that we don't know what it is. A kestrel or something.
I don't know, we're debating that.
Yeah.
It looks like that's a volcano because of the way this.
Yeah. It's a nice view. Oh, is that a road over there? See over there? That little white dot moving across.
Oh yeah.
That's probably a road. Anyway, we're having fun at the top of our hill
Yeah.
with the long grass
Just to the left.
and the sheep. So it's day 3, it's 11 o'clock and we're at a river. There's loads of ferns on this side.
Let me just emphasise how many ferns there are on the left-hand side. Oh, and Japanese knotweed as well.
Over here, yeah. And we've got what Naomi believes is a olive tree, but we're not too sure about that one though. We've got thistles as well. Yes, but
We're mainly in forested evergreen and carnivorous trees. Yeah.
oh yeah, we've been walking through pines, haven't we?
Yeah, but there are actual pine cones in that one.
Yeah, this one here. Oh, cute.
Actually, I found the pine cone, yes.
You know, they open in the Fibonacci sequence.
What? What did you say?
Pine cones open in the Fibonacci sequence.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they looked
There's
Um,
an interesting fact for you.
God, we look like a bunch of nudes.
so yeah,
That's quite cool.
there we go.
Matt.
Flora.
He's eating. Boundary of trees over there, pine trees. There's loads of those, yeah, there's a few sheep next to it. We've been walking in this long grass and it's been raining a bit. The tussocks. We've seen loads of crickets, I've noticed.
Oh yeah!
Loads of crickets, and we've seen a few
We've
frogs.
seen a fat frog, we saw the alpha male.
Yeah, we did see a few
We
frogs.
saw that huge bird.
This is a nice landscape. There's loads of little tributaries to rivers. Sorry. Yeah, that's what they're called as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're walking along them towards that, and they have made quite an impact on the landscape because it's sort of scarred it.
It's made of mini hills. You go up and you go.
Yeah, you're up and down, yeah.
I mean, talking about the audio landscape, we heard a man-made noise, which is the train during lunchtime.
Oh yeah, we did.
So that has
The train
has
track.
an impact on the ecosystem, but it has an impact on the perception of the ecosystem.
Like it in the wind.
Ooh, that is very true. Yeah, we're heading off over there.
It is day 3 and it is 4:04 and we're by the Nandu
waterfall. And so as you can see, there is a very specific pattern of erosion along the river.
We have a look upstream.
Obviously, on a very day of high precipitation, the water must overflow onto this bit and form a waterfall over here, which culminates in this dugout
Yeah.
abrasive side.
So
It's cylindrical.
yeah, there's the water, and then you can see just above this bit is the dugout.
20 past 7. We're at the reservoir, and you can see this reservoir. There's the road. The grass is all cut on this side, and up there on the other side, you can see that it's all the trees have been cut down. So there's nothing left on that side. There's no trees or anything. There's a few sheep, but there's nothing. And then in terms of sort of plants that we have here, we've got this spiky stuff that's quite yeah. And the berries.
Reservoir was at a higher level than the other one.
Yes, this one's quite a lot higher than the other one. Yeah. Past 9,
And all the trees have been cut down around us.
yeah, so
Here
we're
at
on
the
the
beach.
Landscape is
We're on the other side of the reservoir yesterday. We're on this over there. Day 4, 4 past 1. Can't go up it because there's loads of fences and stuff. So we're at the river, and we've noticed that the water here is all clean, or well, relatively. It's clear, whilst the water on this little bit is all red. All these little plants here, they only really grow around the rivers. And there's quite a bit of algae around here. So it's day 4, it's 10 to 5, we're walking up a hill and we're just going up to this little river, and interestingly enough, the only place where there's sort of trees and ferns and sort of plants that aren't burning alive is where the little river is. So the water's had an impact because it's allowed all these trees to grow and all these ferns to sort of survive in this hot weather that we're having.
So it's day 4, and we're still going up this hill. But we noticed on the other side, if you can see, there are 2 large patches of kind of dirt. And we think that this happened in a period of prolonged rain where a landslide occurred. If you have a look at the tops, you can see kind of little dugout area, and we think it's because a landslide occurred here and all the dirt that was in the dugout area has now just washed over the mountainside, and we thought that was an interesting impact of the rain and going to the reservoir in this area.
4, it's 4 past 7, we're nearly at the end. There's a reservoir, what's it called, Ed? Cray Reservoir.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
pointing the other way.
Yeah, so once again there's loads of pine trees. What else is there? There's stinging nettles, there's those pink flowers.
Yeah, Japanese knotweed.
Yeah, more trees. The water level looks quite low compared to some other ones we've seen.
Very, very low.
But you can also see where the river, where it came down from the mountain.
You can see all the rivers running into it.
Tributaries
yeah.
of the
And the sheep have done a good job of cutting this grass, so there's not many tussocks.
It's 7:20. We've just finished.
It's actually 19.
And so now we're going to do our trend videos. My trend is the water level at each reservoir. The first couple of days, so day 1 and day 2, the reservoirs were relatively well full. Some weren't, some were. And then because of the rain on day 3, around the end of day 3, they were fuller than when they at the beginning. And then at the end of day 4, we've only seen a couple, but the first one was relatively high, and then the second one was relatively low.
I am here to talk about the human impacts around the reservoir. And so many of the reservoirs, obviously the reservoirs are human structures, so they obviously constrict the flow of the water, limiting the available water in lower regions. Mainly around the edge, there was quite a significant split in the trees, which will be talked about in a later episode. But yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. But yeah, there is clear evidence of tree and land management, mainly done by Natural Resources Wales. So what they did with those resources, I don't know. It's just the fact that it would impact habitats that the ecosystem would use around the lakes and reservoirs.
Regrettably, there was a lot of litter around most of the lakes and reservoirs that we visited. Now, unfortunately, I think Natural Resources Wales are trying to handle this problem, but I think unfortunately they're understaffed for a problem of this magnitude and scale. Now, we didn't see much litter in the water itself, but around the edges of the reservoirs and on the paths leading up to them, unfortunately, there was a lot of litter, and hopefully this is a problem that we can remedy and work towards in our campaign, and we can solve these problems.
Thank you. So, when we were walking around these reservoirs, we saw lots of trees, mainly fir and pine trees, and in quite a few reservoirs, the pine trees had been cut down already, so we couldn't see. Well, they'd been cut down for the natural resources, and lots of the trees were really, really tall, because they were about to be cut down for wood, or for wood, I don't know, and other things that wood is used for. And we saw lots of little fields of really small trees that have just been planted. They were growing up to be big, tall, strong trees, and yeah, so we saw all around. We saw lots of trees, especially around the reservoirs, because of the abundance of water. Less so in the middle of mountains, such as, well, maybe not that bit, but
That way.
yeah, that way, yeah. Apart from that bit, but yeah. So yeah, we saw lots of trees.
So I had the trend of the soil saturation. So generally, around the reservoirs, there was varying levels of soil saturation. When we met the tributaries, it often the saturation of the soil was obviously a lot more, but generally in the reservoirs, because they are man-made and concrete lined, the soil saturation was less. And on the first 2 days, we had a lot less rain and a lot drier conditions, kind of the hottest of this year. And I found this affected the soil saturation in how, when we met tributaries, they had a lot less water flowing through them, and that meant that the soil saturation in that area was a lot lower, and the soil was a lot more dusty. But over the progression of the expedition, I saw a lot more waterfall, and therefore a lot boggier conditions, and certainly today it was a lot harder to walk through the landscape because the soil saturation was a lot higher.
Thank you. Cheers. You too. Have fun assessing the group.
I want mine. So it's up to you now. We're going to train properly.
Yeah.
It was on you, I think.
A heron earlier. Oh wait, yeah, no, wait.
Day two.
Two.
Day 2 and it's 5:30.
Oh, I saw a heron earlier.
We're at the two.
Naomi, over to you.
Oh, yeah.
So, day 3 and it's what time is it? It's 3:30. So, one Lisjog.
Oh, I think Edward would pronounce it.
Yeah, Edward pronounced it. It's that one. It's there. So we're on top of that, and it's raining, and it's really, what's it called? It starts with a Y. The Stradility Reservoir. Stradelfter Reservoir. Yeah. So when we were walking around these reservoirs, we saw lots of trees. We saw lots of trees, and they were mainly fir trees and pine trees. And all these pine trees. And